We are today with Jessica Rosario. We are doing a live with you guys to talk a little bit about Level Up with ClickUp. Level Up with ClickUp is my ClickUp program that teaches you essentially how to build out a ClickUp workspace from the ground up. And like I said, with me to Jessica, who is a part of that community and a that program and joined in the last cohort. So she's here to share with us a little bit about her experience inside of the program and share with you some little tidbits of information she's learned inside of the program, why she joined, and some other things as well. So Jessica, thank you for being here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, Jena. Again, my name is Jessica, and I'm a business coach and productivity coach. I also co-own a commercial cleaning business, which is, you'll hear more. That was one of the reasons that led me to ClickUp. I personally have been using ClickUp for some time now, but my knowledge was very basic. They have great, videos and tutorials, but not really great use cases. And as I joined your community and how much value you provided, it just, that interest grew for me to join Level Up with ClickUp, because I felt like if she's providing all of this for free, I can't even imagine what she's providing when you pay for the program. And that's exactly what I encountered. So love the program.
Love that. Great. And so you mentioned you have two different businesses, and tell us a little bit about that. Are you utilizing ClickUp in both businesses?
Yes. So I was using ClickUp in my coaching business. I use it to work with clients. I use it to, organize my projects, mainly if I'm like building courses or doing validation calls or things like that. So I was using it that way. I did feel that it was a little bit unorganized, but it seemed to work for me. And even though there were a lot of times that I couldn't find certain things, I did find that it really just helped kind of put all the pieces together without me having that extra to-do list or the extra notebook or all these other things and tools that we wind up using. So in that process, when we started this other business, I had a space in there for that business.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel, when you're working on a lower scale with my coaching business, we don't have, hundreds of contracts going out. We don't have, employees, and I only have 2 people on my team, right, for my coaching business. It just felt like, it worked for what we had. But as we started to add more things and more tasks and trying to figure out SOPs, which was really the key that brought me to ClickUp. It's like, how do we build these SOPs that make sense, that the team can find, that can be useful, and that we can find them all in one place without searching all over the Google Drive and Dropbox. So I was using it, but I would say the usage was very minimal compared to what we've been able to implement with Level Up with ClickUp.
Yeah, I love that. So coming into the program, into Level Up with ClickUp, having some sort of standard basic knowledge inside of ClickUp, how did you feel like coming into the program?
Well, I'll be very honest. So when I first logged in the first day and I saw all of the videos, I don't know how many videos there were. They had it looked like 70
there's
videos.
Like 73. Yeah.
Okay. So when I saw the videos, I was like, there's no way in hell I can do this. But what I found was that the content was in very consumable bites. And I'm a doer, right? So I don't listen to content and then implement it after. I actually would get on my laptop and I would stream your videos on the big screen on my TV. And then on my computer, I had my ClickUp dashboard and I was building as I went. There was some things that, that I felt that we weren't using in our business at the time. But I built it anyway. And instead of labeling it the way you asked to label it, I would do that, but I would add in the beginning, do not use or not using yet. So that I knew that it was something that was already built and ready to go if we chose to continue to move forward with it. So it was overwhelming when I looked at it,
Yeah.
But as I started consuming the content, I was like, oh, this is really good. So,
Yeah.
and I probably was, you know, driving you crazy with lots of questions too.
No, I love it. Keep coming. Yeah. So, and that's, just the way that you described it,
Mhm,
where you're watching the video, pausing, and then implementing.
mhm,
That is how I always tell people to go through the program, because I could talk at you all day long about ClickUp, right?
mhm.
But until you actually implement it and put your hands to the keyboard and start
Yeah,
to move things around and make magic happen, it's not going to connect, right? It's
right.
not really going to click. So just for those of you who are listening in, if you do decide to come into the program, that's how you want to do it, right? You
Mhm,
watch, pause, implement, watch, pause, implement. And, just like Jessica was saying, all of the videos are in very consumable pieces. I think, the time ranges really range anywhere from like a 5-minute video to,
mhm,
I think maybe the longest might be like a 30-minute video.
mhm,
Right. So it's not terribly long. I break them down into really bite-sized pieces. So people
mhm.
can go back and watch things instead of like having to rewatch a whole 30-minute video, 45-minute
Right.
video. Right. So
Mhm.
definitely the breakdown is helpful like that inside
Yeah.
of the program. So tell me a little bit about, we're talking about these recorded modules, right?
Mhm,
But tell me a little bit about the live element. So we do
mhm,
have 4 live Q&A sessions
mhm,
inside of the program. So I know you joined all of them.
mhm.
And so tell me a little bit more about your experience with that.
I think for me, it was just to see what other people, you know, like how they were utilizing it. Because what I love about your program is that you talk about use case a lot,
Mhm.
and you always say, in this use case, we're going to do this, right? But do what makes sense for your business. And while ClickUp University is great,
Mhm.
I believe that ClickUp University really just shows you how to navigate through it,
Yeah.
whereas you're showing something completely different. It's really about managing your business. It's like the back end of your business, but it really becomes the front. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you're building that infrastructure of the business, but it becomes the go-to for the team. And like there was one training that I can tell you that I didn't implement at the time. And my HR person messaged me today and she was like, I implemented the form on team availability. I was like, yes, let's go. Right. So whenever ideas and questions came up, those live options were great because, you know, I would ask some questions there. You would kind of show us how to navigate. If we were stuck in a certain section, I would either say, do you want to share so that I can see what you're seeing? Or you will go in through your test or trial, just to kind of help us navigate through that. So I thought that was phenomenal as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It is always so useful to see how other people are utilizing the tool, because although you might be in totally different industries,
Mhm.
some of those concepts can still apply,
Right.
right? So it is really helpful to get another sneak peek into other people's use cases and how other people are utilizing the tool for sure. And
Mhm.
that's really what those live Q&As are about, is seeing the inside of other people's workspaces, their thought processes, their business processes, right? And I know that you mentioned that ClickUp, that level up with ClickUp isn't just, teaching you the functionality, right? It's really
Right.
how to apply business processes, and
Mhm.
ClickUp's just the tool of choice,
Right.
right? So that's a big, I think, a big component of the program for sure.
Mhm.
And so since we're on the same kind of line as like businesses, how has that really helped you, going through the program, helped you develop your own processes inside of the business?
Oh, so good. I think for us, I mean, I've been excited about Level Up with ClickUp. The moment I think we passed like the beginning of like the hierarchy,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got this. Oh my gosh, like this is amazing, right? And
Yeah.
it's funny because my other half, right, he owns the commercial cleaning business with me, and he was like, she must really like it, because she kept hearing me say, oh, that's great, right? So he was hearing some of those gestures, because sometimes I had my earbuds on and stuff.
Yeah.
And just being able to kind of navigate through the things that made sense. And then what I loved too, and I think I don't remember if I had mentioned this to you. There was one time that I was asking you a question
Mhm.
about something in the trainings. And I said to you, I don't know if I'm gonna see this already, but I was
Yeah.
wondering if do you have this available? And as I continued to go through it, I was like, never mind, that was the next training, right? So I was already kind of thinking ahead. But what I loved about putting all the pieces together was really brainstorming on what were the pieces that we needed and then how to keep it all organized. So for example, we just hired an admin to came on board for a big inventory management project. And she's temporary, so she's there for 3 months. And when she came in, it was like, oh, this is like a no-brainer. So how do we give her access to Dropbox, and how do we give her access to this and that? And everything was right there in our business tools list inside of ClickUp. So it was very easy to kind of navigate through bringing in a new employee and whatnot. We're still playing around with the onboarding for like the traditional onboarding for a new hire in our field service operations. That's a little different for us. But as far as like the administrative side, to me, it was just a no-brainer on having all of the pieces and the trainings right there built. The other thing that I wanted to add was, you had mentioned as you went through it, you said, well, if you're this type of client, let's just say that you need an SOP on this and an SOP on that, and you were bringing ideas. And as you were doing that, it was making me think, okay, well, I think we need an SOP on onboarding a new client, on training the team member, on having, the team member meet the new client, because again, it's a commercial cleaning service. So they have keys to our clients, location. So just how do we make that process personal? So I was dropping some of those things in there. And then by the time I was done, I wound up with a bunch of SOPs that I was like, oh my God, how am I going to build this?
Yeah.
But I just started reading a book called Process by, I can't remember the author, but it's from EOS Worldwide. And as you know, we are implementing EOS as part of our commercial cleaning business. And the Process book talks about only doing about 20% of those SOPs. Just to get started. Yeah. And I think that was another piece that was a little overwhelming for me. It's like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to start all these SOPs? Like one list, I did like 30 of them. And I was like, there's no way. I mean, I'm going to be writing SOPs until the end of the year. But it really helped me navigate to, okay, what are some ideas that I need? What are the ones that are in progress that maybe are high priority? And, and kind of work on those first.
Yeah, for sure. And, that's part of the structure we create, right? Is we create this database so that when you're ready to add those SOPs, you have the structure there, right? You don't have to go and like think about, well, how am I going to connect this? And how am I going to, organize this, and this, right? So giving you the structure, even though you might not be ready for that structure yet, it's incredibly beneficial to you down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Amazing. So what would you say are like, I don't know, maybe the top 1 or 2 things that you've learned inside the program that you think have like benefited your business or businesses the most?
I would say number 1 was the structure. With using EOS, which is the entrepreneurial operating system, we knew what structure we wanted and we've been following, but we didn't have like a repository location with all of our things. Yes, we had a Google Drive. We used Trello for, I always say, for like a hot minute with our cleaning business, because I was using Trello in my coaching business for a while and it worked, right? It worked great until I migrated to ClickUp. But for our commercial cleaning business, it was just not efficient. And that structure that you had us, that you trained on creating through that, it almost mirrored EOS. And it was very similar and easy to implement. And by doing that, because we knew what departments we had and we needed to focus on, and then of course the way you teach it, it was very aligned to that. So that was the first part. It was the structure of it. I've always said, ClickUp and all, there's a lot of programs out there that will teach you how to use ClickUp, but Jena will teach you how to run your business with ClickUp. And there's a huge difference with that. I'm a business coach. I see this happen all the time. And you know, and obviously not because I joined the program or because I'm here today. It's like Jena's the real deal. If you're looking for someone that can help you build your business and the infrastructure of your business, that's where you want to be. And I will always recommend it forever. It was the best investment we've made in our business. So that was one, the structure. And two, was the marketing. The marketing piece. It was so, it wasn't too elaborate, but it was so profound and it made such an impact. So I really enjoyed the marketing training as well. So those two were the most important for me.
I love that. Thank you. So, and can we talk a little bit more about the marketing piece? Because I don't think we've really touched on that. So, can you tell everyone just who's interested in, you know, joining what this marketing piece of the program is all about? What are you doing in there?
So good. So, I'm implementing in bite size, first of all, because I obviously work with someone else. So it's not, you know, I can't just implement all of it. But what I love about the marketing side is that I'm able to create a template for my month and theme where I don't have to go crazy navigating through all kinds of content and trying to figure out what to post from one location to the other. And what I love is that, you know, with the statuses, I mean, it's easy for my admin to move it over, assign it to me when it needs review. I just go in and review it, approve it. But I think the most important part of all of that also are the automations and workflows. Because you can have the board and it works great without the automations and workflows. But wow, like just adding those two pieces, think of, I don't know, just to me, it's like, think of having that magic wand. Like that's what it does to that process. Because we had one before in ClickUp. Like I said, it was a little bit unorganized and probably not as efficient. But with the new structure, dividing it by channel, I love the podcast guest form as well. That's always been like a nightmare for me to try to get a guest speaker on the podcast. And did they send in the information that I requested? I need their bio. I need it before the recording, you know, so like all of these things that were happening. So that structure to have in the marketing side, which is so important, not only for coaches, but for, you know, even for our businesses are two completely different things. It's the coaching business and a completely different field service business, but it just works for both. And I love that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. You know, the marketing side is, I personally love it because I use it for my own business as well. Right. So I have, you know, that it's taught inside of Level Up with ClickUp is that we're really creating these lists for every month. And what it comes down to is by the end of the year, you've got 12 full months, an entire year's worth of content that can then be recycled. So I'm using that exact same method in my business. And that's what I'm doing now is I've now created a year's worth of content and I'm recycling, right?
Love it.
And updating and doing all of those things. So, you know, in practice, and if you're doing this for, you know, this method for over a year, it works, right? So definitely is a really great component of the program for sure. So tell me, last question, what would you say for those who are listening and considering joining the program? What would you say to them?
To me, it was a no-brainer. And I had to run the decision by someone else. So imagine if you're the only person to make that decision. Like it's a no-brainer. Again, if you're looking for structure on building your business, then that's the program for you. If you're just looking on how to navigate ClickUp and you're maybe not there yet, there's a bunch of free stuff out there. YouTube, ClickUp University is great as well. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to run your business, I tell you that it even helps us with maintaining like our daily tasks, our administrative tasks that we don't even think of at the time because we're just so caught up in the doing. But it just keeps it all together. So that would be the main key. When Jena called it LevelUp, like I always feel like, man, I'm leveling up my skills with ClickUp, and it just made perfect sense that the name just ties into the program. But just from now forward, I mean, I'm telling everyone if they own a business and want to learn how to build that infrastructure of their business, then that's definitely LevelUp with ClickUp is the one.
It. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your kind words. I'm so glad you've been so successful in this program. And for those of you that are listening in, if you have any questions, I'm sure Jessica would have no problem answering any of your questions or anything like that. So if you do have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat if you're watching the replay. And sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat, so I don't even know if anyone's here right now. But that's okay, we'll catch up. But again, thank you so much for joining me. And for those of you who are interested in the program, I'll drop the link again inside of the comments here. And then, of course, any questions that anyone has, feel free to reach out. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Jena.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here.